Hi, this is Dana with GMAT Ninja, and today I'm going to talk through what to do in the last 2 weeks before your exam. Now, the goal of these last 2 weeks is to arrive at your test day feeling relaxed, mentally sharp, and ready to go. Spoiler alert, you do not get to feeling that way by studying for 10 hours a day and becoming a total zombie right before your test. That might seem obvious, but we see it all the time and we really don't want it to happen to you. So what can you focus on during these last 2 weeks? First, I'll give you some day-to-day things that will affect your performance when you get to your test day, and then I'll give you some study strategies to focus yourself during these last 2 weeks. The first factor to focus on is getting consistent sleep. I had one student who had tons of variation in her homework tracker. Some days she was doing great, some days not so great, and we could not figure out what was going on until we had her start tracking her sleep in a sleep log. Then it became clear very quickly that if she got a great night of sleep, she would do well on homework the next day, and if she didn't sleep well, then she would not do well on homework. Turns out that what my student was experiencing has been proven clinically. Sleep is just incredibly important for cognitive tasks. In general, it just enhances your cognitive performance. In addition, it also consolidates your memory. So all of those things that you've been studying, if you want them to be useful to you on test day, you do need to get sleep. And finally, you can't just make up sleep in one night. So if you have sleep deprivation over the course of several months, you can't just have one great night of sleep and make it up. That actually holds true for even shorter amounts of time. You can't just, have several days of bad sleep and then make it up in one night. So what do we mean by consistent sleep? Just go to bed at the same time every night, get a roughly the same amount of sleep each night, and that should be somewhere between 7 and 9 hours. There's a very small portion of the population that can operate on fewer than 7 hours of sleep. That's probably not you, so just make sure you get 7 hours. The next thing to focus on is eating a consistent diet. Your goal over these next 2 weeks is just to even out your energy level, so don't make any drastic changes. Now is not the time to start the keto diet. This might sound really obvious, but this is exactly the kind of thing that we tend to let slip when we start to get stressed out. Everyone's had days where you rely on that energy drink or you don't have time and you just skip lunch. Over the next 2 weeks, really make a point to have a consistent diet that's going to make you feel good in the lead up to your test. The third thing to focus on is getting consistent exercise. Exercise can alleviate your anxiety symptoms and also can improve your cognitive performance. The thing to focus on when choosing an exercise program is just to get your heart rate up nearly every day. To do this, there are a couple of free online tools that I really like. The first one is called the 7-Minute Workout. And as the name implies, it is very short, just 7 minutes a day. And in addition, you can do it at home with very minimal equipment. So this is a great option for people that are short on time. Another program you could do is the Couch to 5K program. This one is better for people who are just starting exercise or just getting back into exercise. It'll just give you a gentle progression of walking and jogging that eventually will lead to running a 5K. You won't get to running a 5K within 2 weeks, but you will be feeling better by the time test day rolls around. The fourth thing to consider is taking up a mindfulness practice. I had one student who was doing really well on all of his practice tests, but then when he went in for the actual GMAT exam, he had a sudden decrease in score. His mind was wandering through all kinds of thoughts, mostly about what MBA program he was going to get into, and he was unable to get away from those thoughts and just focus on the task at hand, which is answering the question on the screen. He was able to incorporate a daily mindfulness practice and reduce those wandering thoughts, and eventually he got his goal score. The good news is that research shows that only 2 weeks of meditation can improve your test scores. So a couple of options that I like are the Waking Up app and the Headspace app. Go ahead, download both of those apps, do their introductory courses, and decide which one is best for you. One thing you have to keep in mind is that it's really hard to say how one of these factors will individually impact your test performance. However, when you put them all together, you come up with this holistic and interconnected approach that will leave you feeling relaxed, confident, and ready to perform your best on test day. Now that we've covered some of the factors that can impact your performance on test day, I'll give you some guidelines on how to formulate a study plan for these last 2 weeks. What you're not trying to do during these last weeks is cram a whole bunch of new information in your brain. Instead, you're just trying to hone and refine the techniques you've been working on. In addition, arrive at test day feeling creative, flexible, and comfortable with your knowledge. So with that in mind, just create a consistent schedule and stick to that schedule. In addition, take your last practice test at least 2 days before your actual exam. That'll give you a chance to review your results, reflect on what went well, maybe what didn't go well, and make any changes that you need to make before your test. Now, that might seem like a pretty simplistic plan, but that's kind of the point. We just want you to create a consistent schedule so that you end up performing your best on test day. In the last couple of days before your exam, your only task is to reduce your stress as much as possible. We like students to block out the last 72 hours of their calendar and say what they're doing during those hours. You should fill it with productive things that are going to keep your mind off of the GMAT. Some things that you could do are walk your dog, play a board game, have friends over, whatever it is that's going to make you less anxious as you go into your test. Okay, to recap, what should you focus on during these last 2 weeks before your exam? 1, get consistent sleep. 2, keep a consistent diet. 3, make time to exercise. 4, meditate. 5, resist the urge to cram. And 6, reduce your stress. I hope this helps you perform your best on test day. This has been Dana from GMAT Ninja. Thank you so much for watching.